So it's been like a week and a half, maybe, since I installed Sense Atlas online. And it's kind of like, despite this going back like 12 years, and this is like the fourth iteration, and it's going to be plenty more. This is the first opportunity that I really like had to really use it, really kind of like let her rip as the sort of the general sort of idea behind like the issue-based information system, and then the sort of process model stuff on top of that, and just wanted to show like just like the basic like core of it, to the extent that you begin with an object called an issue, and that's like the thing there in the middle is always the thing that's in the left corner, and then this is sort of a replica of the immediate neighbors of it. So you can see when I mouse over these, they light up. And so you start out with an issue, and an issue is like a thing in the world that you want something done about. And then you respond to an issue with a position, which is a specific thing you want done about the issue. And then you either support or oppose a position with an argument. And then you just create this structure, like sort of you can see throughout the graph. There's, this sort of cascade that ends up happening. So like there's issues to the positions to arguments. Now, so this sort of interested me, 12 years, well, longer than that, actually, probably like closer to 2009 is when I first heard about this capability, or first heard about structured argumentation, which is what this is called. And so, I wanted to make my own, and I got the first opportunity to do that in 2013, and I made a prototype that did it. But the prototype was like never really quite good enough. Like it never like it was like kind of an interesting thing to kind of use like every once in a while but it, you couldn't really do anything with it once you had what you had. There was something off about it, more or less. And so, like this is sort of like getting to be on the serviceable side now. And anyway, like going back even farther though, from the prototype, I had come up with this idea for like a process model, and kind of knitted that in later on with the IBIS stuff. So the idea is you could extend an issue into a goal, and then you could extend a goal into a target. And so like the idea the difference between an issue and a goal is it's like the goal is like a future state, and I have one in here somewhere. There it is. See. So a goal is something that somebody wants. So I would put my name in there. If I do that, I think I'll break it. So we're not doing that quite yet. And then a goal is achieved by a task. And so this is what I'm working on right now. You can tell because the CSS is a bit goofed. And then the idea behind that is you go from, so you'll upgrade an issue into a goal. Because there are going to be issues that are separate from goals, right? Like an issue pops up, you're like, an issue, the whole thing about it is you're like, okay, here's a position, and you see they're everywhere. So like a position to an issue, for example, because like positions can raise issues, and that's not necessarily like why you should or shouldn't do them. It's just, what about this, right? And that's the thing about this, is to capture like at like a tweet scale, like what about this when you go to propose a particular course of action. So the idea is once you've sort of figured out and decided what to do, you've got this task thing, which has like, RACI on it. That's what this is, like a responsible, accountable, consulted, informed, or what have you. And those are going to like people go in there. Again, haven't done that mechanic yet. Started and ended. Now this is probably provisional because there are different reasons why you would start or end a task. Like you could suspend it, you could abort it, you could actually complete it. So there's going to have to be some kind of like state stuff in there that I haven't figured out yet. But the idea would be is that so you go through and you make these issues, positions, and arguments, and you say, okay, like this issue is a goal, or maybe you might add a new one and aggregate them underneath. And then you say, well, this position is actually a task. So like a position can upgrade to a task, or it will once I implement that. And then finally, there's a target, and the distinction between a goal and a target is that a goal is like a sort of binary thing, like is it satisfied or not? Whereas a target is like by this date with this amount of money, whatever. And the idea of separating those concerns is that a goal, I'm just going to switch to that because it's distracting. A goal may have a bunch of candidate tasks. Like there might be a bunch of different candidate ways to achieve a goal. And so you might do some research on like what the different approaches are, for instance, and you would use that tool to do it. And then you would pick one. You basically, there's a sort of endorsement capability. Like it's a literal, like it's a like button. And so the idea is everybody on the team would say, okay, this is the one that we're doing. And then the task has the sort of the content of like, okay, like what do we need to actually make it happen? And only then would you decide on what date or what have you, and how much and what the budget is. And so this is kind of in flux. Like this is like the reason why the sort of the push to get Sense Atlas online. I just can't do any more with it in a vacuum. Anyway, gonna finish my coffee.